Hi there everyone, thanks to my old subscribers and to my new subscribers. Tonight I'm going to do the truth about his feelings using the Oracle card deck again. I'm also doing a daily tarot reading if you'd like to look at that. I'll upload it with this reading. It's really just an enjoyment reading for myself. I like to know how my day's going using the cards. The last two readings were pretty good. Like I used them for the last 2 days and they seem pretty accurate. So I'm going to stick with them. Okay, so we'll ask the cards. What is the truth of his feelings towards my channel viewer? See if we can get some viewage on this. Okay. The hedge. Secrecy. And Strager. He looks upon you as 3 different women. Now, I would usually read this as a third-party situation or a fourth-party situation because there are 3 women. But in this case, I'm not going to because all the women look exactly the same as the others. So he sees you as 3 different women. He sees you as somebody very loving, somebody very earthy and practical, and somebody who's very energetic, someone who's very strong-willed. So you must have come across as quite assertive to him. And I think he's a guy that tries to make out that he might have other crushes. But that's not the case at all. He just seems to imagine himself in love with different women. But it looks like that you're the focal point in this reading. And you can see that for yourself. You can see how similar they look. I don't think he has a type. I think this is actually the same woman with different personalities. Or he, sees you as a whole package. It kind of reminds me a bit of the Empress card, but it's been separated out. So he sees you as the complete package, that's for sure. And you are a focus of him as well, focus of his. I wouldn't be surprised if you had an earth sun and a fire ascendant, because that's how it shows up to me in these cards. So the earth sun would be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and the fire ascendant would be Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. Shows that you have a secret devotion to him. So you haven't wanted to be upfront with him. About your emotions, and there's a particular reason you've decided not to do that. And it says to me in these cards that it has something to do with the fact that you want to be a strong person in this situation. You want to be the strength in this situation. That's what it says to me. And you want to be the strength because you want to be a grounding influence in this person's life. And he can see that. He must be a very intelligent man because he can see that's what you're doing. And the approach you're taking is the right one. That's what these cards are saying. Because you're pushing forward. You're forging ahead into the future. You're taking no prisoners. And it's a bit of a game plan of yours with this bloke. You're very firm about how you want to play this out, to play this relationship out. And it's working because he sees you in the light that you want him to see you. So he sees you as a loving person. He sees you as a grounded, practical, beautiful person. He sees you as a strong person. And that's what you wanted. That's the impression I'm picking up from these cards. That's exactly how you wanted him to see you. You didn't want to be the cheap lady. You didn't want to be the floozy. You wanted to be somebody in his life that stood firm. And it was almost like win or lose. It was a win or lose attitude. You weren't going to give in to his relationship play, and you're still firm about those principles. And it's worked because he's looking upon you as the Empress basically in his life. The total package. So that's how he feels towards you just at the moment. He thinks you are the total package. He thinks you're happy. You come across as happy and joyful. Somebody who is very firm. Somebody who can... somebody who is a mystery to him. He feels that you are a mystery. He feels that you're a person that has escaped him as well. It's almost as if he couldn't see you clearly in front of him in the past. But you were there. Like, he couldn't see your love, but it was there. He couldn't see your level of control in the situation, but it was there. He couldn't see your beauty, but it was there. And now he's, sort of emerging from the bushes. And the feeling I get is one of love. I mean, that's central to it. Love and devotion, those are his feelings. And it's a mutual feeling. But you've always had those feelings. You've always known. But it's like in these cards, it's saying that he's just discovering those elements because he's had time to think about those elements, whereas before, I don't think he was thinking in those terms at all. I think he saw you as someone he liked very much, but he didn't see all these different aspects to you, and that's what he now appreciates. And the only third party really is his thoughts on these women, other women, you know, he sees other women or he meets other women or he hears about other women and he thinks about them and he fantasizes over them. But they're not women in his life. They're like poster women. That's the impression I'm getting, because it's showing that you are very much his central focus in these cards. He's just seeing every facet of you now, and he appreciates every facet of you. And he's kind of thinking to himself, oh, you know, I acted like a bit of a floozy around her. You know, I should have concentrated, I should have grounded my thoughts, I should have kept our relationship private, very private, and I should have been strong about that. And that's how he's feeling at the moment. He's, you know, feeling very grounded, feeling very private about you both, and feeling very strong about you both. Because he knows that you could potentially stab him. Like, I use that metaphorically. You could potentially hurt him because you're strong. And he's wary of that as well. But he's also conscious of the fact that you'd like to keep this relationship private. And if I was going to look at this, if you're in a third party situation, which you know about, well, I would just look at this, these cards as saying to me, there is another woman that you know about, but you want this relationship kept totally quiet. That's what it's saying to me. But the love is definitely blooming in this relationship. It's showing very strongly. And I think I've said this many times that you could have royal ancestry. That's what these cards show. But into the future, even presently in his past, you were his focus. Centrally, you are, and presently you are his focus. And into the future, you are his focus. But you're going to get stronger, you know, about his approaches to you, because he feels that you are in a very strong position, but he's in a weaker position than you. That's how he feels. But he really worships you at the moment. He worships every aspect of you. And all he wants to do at the present time is dream of you at night. Okay, so that was the first deck. That was interesting. Okay, so now this is the second deck. If that reading resonated, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below with a link. Resistance. Union. The unknown. If you would like a daily reading, I've also uploaded a daily. Okay. If this reading resonates, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below with a link. Shows here presently that he's feeling that you are in a relationship. Now that could be in a direct sense, or it could be in an indirect sense where you're just appreciating one another, but you're not together. It shows that he feels you're being guarded in this relationship, or he's being guarded, one or the other. I kind of get the impression this is the male card, so he's being guarded. It says that he has a real focus on his job, but also he's being guarded because he's dealing with something some type of weed, some type of, I mean that in a hypothetical or metaphorical sense. Something is has taken hold of him, and he's finding it very difficult to climb out of whatever nonsense he's managed to get himself into. Very difficult because it's winding its way around his weaponry, his ability to protect himself, his protectionism, so he's feeling very, very guarded because he doesn't know whether he can get out of this predicament that he's in. He does know that you are together, that you are friendly, you are either friends, good friends, or you are lovers. And he wants that. He feels he'd like a union with you. You can see that in the card. He's just feeling a little bit apprehensive in his own personal life because whatever is winding its way around him has something to do with his work in the past. Now he has the resources within himself to rise above this situation. He has the intellectual ability and the strength to shoot forward. It's just that he's stuck because whatever happened is holding him down. And it's really affecting his mentality as well. And not only his mentality, but his physicality, like he's feeling he can't rise above them, both issues. It's almost as if he was at the end of his career and the leaves had fallen off the tree. You know, that's what it shows. Or he's had to move on from an old career in the past, but he's still dealing with some issues from that past job or career. It shows it has something to do with deception. But also, this is where it gets interesting because he's had these problems where he couldn't pull his foot out of the winding branches, but then you've stepped into his life and suddenly he could pull his foot free. He could escape into the clearing and see the sun again. So that's just giving a hypothetical explanation as to how he feels towards you. He knows you're friends. He knows you're at the beginning stages of a relationship, but he also understands that it could be a very grounding relationship, could be very happy, could be very joyful. He knows that you're a person, though, or he feels that you're a person that is potentially ready to strike. Anybody that wants to form a relationship, any man that wants to form a relationship with them, that's what it shows. You know, it comes back to him being guarded because he's had this problem in his past, and you being guarded on an emotional level because you just feel that way in terms of relationships. You just feel like you'd like to know somebody first. But he understands that you are friends, that you've progressed your relationship, that you've taken next steps either on an emotional level or on a physical plane. And that's his focus, because his feelings towards you is one of happiness. I can see, though, that your feelings are fading into the background, are fading into the light. And to me, that shows that you're facing his problems, you're facing his past. You know perfectly well that he's had this history, and you're being quite matter of fact about it. That's the impression I'm getting. You're on guard because about forming a relationship with this man, because you know he's had issues or he has issues. And so, and you've all also come to some conclusion about him. It's like he does make you happy, he does make you feel grounded, but you're only willing to take this relationship so far, and then you feel you must hand over the reins to him to then progress it. That's what it's saying to me. And it's just saying to me, you're being considerate of him because you're still holding his hand. You're still willing to be his friend. You still would like to develop something, but you're cautious. That's what it's saying. And because you're cautious about this relationship, the universal energies are a bit puzzled. And they say into the future, we have no idea what's going to happen because you're not stepping into the unknown yet. Two people have issues of feeling guarded for different reasons. They're meant to be together. They're meant to make one another happy, and they do make one another happy on a soul plane. But, you know, these problems they have, these issues they have in respect of moving this relationship forward has resulted in an unknown factor for them both. We have no idea, you know. I guess the universal energies can feel if two people feel motivated enough to progress a relationship. And what the universal energies are saying here is there is motivation, there is happiness, there is joy. There is a mutual understanding between these two people, but they both have their problems about moving this relationship forward. They both have their issues. The issues are different, but and they are friends, and they do want a union together, but the guarded feeling between them both is going to end up stifling the outcome, because it's like they can get there, and his feeling is they can get there, her feeling is that they can get there, but his feelings are very strongly guarded, like because of he's had these issues in the past. He doesn't know, he knows he's the right person for you, but he doesn't know whether he can progress this relationship. And that's why there's an unknown factor in the situation. But it also says that neither of you want to walk through that door, because you know you're going to both be dealing with issues, dealing with turmoil, because he's had this difficulty in his past and you feel very guarded about those difficulties. But it says the only way you can move forward in union is by walking through that door and facing those issues. So it looks just at the moment that he feels that you are together on a soul plane, but not, and you're friendly. You're also very friendly. It shows a physicality here, so you could be, could be very good friends or lovers. But I get the impression with the background that it's more like, and the murky foliage down the bottom, I get the feeling that it gives me the impression that this relationship is like a dream for these two people. So I wouldn't be surprised if you have dreams about one another and you're together in your dreams. That's kind of what it gives me the impression. So yes, those are the challenges in this relationship, but he does feel that you are both together. Alright, so that was the second deck. I'll do the third deck. What's the truth of his feelings towards my channel viewer? What's the truth of his feelings towards my channel viewer? Oh gosh, it wants to spit out cards left, right and centre. What's the truth of his feelings towards my channel viewer? Okay, so we have ritual, creation and resistance. If this reading resonates, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below with a link. Okay. So he feels there's a lot of loyalty between you both. I feel, he's just feeling very caring towards you. Again, he feels you're being, you feel, it shows the guarded card, so he must be a hard worker and he's having difficulties at work at the moment. And he really wants to focus on the pair of you. You can see that in the central card. If this is a third-party situation, it doesn't have to be necessarily a third-party situation. But if it is, then he's turned away from his partner. He's turned away from her completely. And he's just focusing on loving you. She's a jealous woman. Because I think he feels like the feeling I get is he wants to care for you. He wants to love you. He wants to be tender and gentle with you. But he's facing these difficulties into the future. In the past, he had a very regimented relationship. But this shows a past relationship, and she was in love with him, but she was a very energetic person. But it just shows that everything was systematic, you know. He had no freedom in that relationship at all. He had to work by her standards and he had to work by her scheduling. So I think I really get the impression from these cards that he's turned away from that rigid relationship in the past and he's really focused on you, on being tender with you, on being free with you. That's a big message in the cards. He wants to be free. And he wants to be free with you. And I guess that's why there's some struggle into the future in this relationship. You're turning away from the struggle and he's protecting you from this past, this woman that he was in a relationship with from his past. I know you're curious about it and you've asked him about it, but he's really not giving away any information because I think the feeling is from him that he really wants to focus on the pair of you. He doesn't want to look back towards what happened in his past. Sort of shows, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. So she could have been a woman that complained a lot about a lot of different things or made a lot of different assumptions, but they weren't, they didn't amount to anything. So he's come from a very rigid, you know, relationship. He's emerged out of a very rigid relationship and into a more spiritual one with you, a more tender and loving one, a more free relationship. He's feeling a little bit down because he knows he's got these difficulties in his life that he still has to face. But he wants to just focus on looking after you. He doesn't want to think about his past relationship or this past person, and he doesn't want to lose you. Shows here he can be an obstinate person, very stubborn. But what's most encouraging about these cards is the willingness on his side to just care for you. You know. You can see how happy you make him, how happy you make one another, and how grounded the relationship is. So those are his feelings. This woman from his past was a little bit crazy. You know, she was it comes back to where there's smoke, there's fire. So it's like she would always act out, And I think she acted out because he wouldn't comply with her rigid lifestyle. And she was a jealous woman as well. So she probably would really have a fit of rage, that is, if she thought that he was with someone, or if he was home late, that sort of thing. That's the impression I get. She did have a lot of energy. She was a very happy woman. But those elements of her personality were a turn off. And that's why he's placed so much focus on his freedom with you in love. Because you tend to bring a calm to his life and a very genuine, loving feeling, a very happy feeling. It's like a warmth. He feels warm when he's with you. And it just shows that you're the stabilizing influence in his life. Because he has these struggles that he has to deal with in the future. But he's really focused on ensuring that you are protected from whatever is going to happen in the future with him in respect of this turmoil. And also, he just wants to make sure that you're loved in the meantime and that you feel loved. Okay, so that was deck 3. If this reading resonated, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below with a link.